I'm very, very excited to get started. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and then we'll get started on topic clusters and simple SEO success. Alrighty, here we go. And I'm just going to go on into present mode. Here we go. All right, so I already had a wonderful introduction from Cluid, but my name is Amanda. As he already said, I'm the product manager at HubSpot for our SEO tools, which includes our recommendations home and topic clusters and content strategy. My team is all based in Boston, and the mission of the SEO product team is to build a world-class suite of SEO tools that's so deeply integrated in the content planning, creation, and reporting process that it's inevitable that our customers like you will grow their organic traffic. I have been at HubSpot for a little bit over 4 years, and I've been the product manager for SEO for just about 6 months. So excited to be here today. Now today, the objective of our session is we are going to talk a little bit about what topic clusters are, why they're important, and we're going to actually do a little workshop where you're going to map out your first topic cluster so that you're ready to continue building out your topic cluster after our session is over today. So as for agenda, I am going to give an introduction to topic cluster, talk about what it is, what the context of it is with regards to Google and its updates. I'm going to get into how to actually build a topic cluster, and I'm going to go through a real example of a HubSpot customer and the topic cluster that they built. Then we're going to do a little short activity where you're going to start mapping out your topic cluster yourself. And we're going to end with a short recap, next steps, and a Q&A portion. Whew, a lot of stuff, but we can get to it. All right, so with that, I'm going to introduce you to topic clusters. We arrive at this topic of content strategy and topic clusters because over the last decade, the way that we as users search has changed pretty dramatically. I want you to transport yourself back in time to about 10 years ago. The year is 2001, you're at home, you're sitting in front of your desktop PC, Windows 7. Google looks like this. Isn't that a blast from the past? It's Friday night and you're getting hungry. So when you pull up Google, you might type in a phrase that's simple, keyword focused, and pretty straight to the point. Something like restaurants in Boston or restaurants in London, since this is the London hub. But if we fast forward about 10 years to 2021, the way that you search for that is going to look a little bit different. You probably are grabbing your smartphone out of your pocket. Maybe you and your coworkers worked a bit late and you want to find a spot to grab dinner after work. The query that you're typing into Google now is more of a conversation with Google. Maybe it's even a question. It's probably longer and it has phrases like what or why. You expect Google to know where you are and say near me without even telling them where you are. And there's even a chance that you don't type at all. With the rise of voice search, you may just be speaking the command into your phone directly. This change in how we search isn't just because we've suddenly become more comfortable talking to robots, although maybe that's part of it. It's largely because the quality of results that search engines serve us has substantially improved, along with the quality of quantity of content. And so we expect our results that we're receiving back to match. Google has adapted over the years to better answer our queries and provide us with the most relevant results. Over the last decade, Google's released many major algorithm updates that change how it ranks and displays content to searchers like ourselves. This timeline shows a bunch of them, but just to hone in on a few of them, in 2012, there was the Penguin update, at which point Google started cracking down on keyword stuffing. Keyword stuffing is essentially when a website page takes a single keyword and spams it as many times as possible on the page to try to trick Google into ranking it. We also had the 2013 Hummingbird update. Hummingbird was basically a complete overhaul of the algorithm, sort of like taking a new engine entirely and putting it into an existing car. Hummingbird is an algorithm change that allows Google to pay attention to each individual word in a query and ensuring that the whole query, the whole sentence is taken into account rather than just the individual words separately. 2015 was a big year for Google. There was the mobile get-in update, as it's fondly referred to by SEOs, maybe a little bit dramatic, but during that time, Google announced that it would incorporate mobile friendliness as a ranking signal. And so non-mobile friendly sites would be penalized on mobile search. The Penguin update, it hit the black hat SEO people hard, yes. Penguin was definitely one where people saw a lot of change. Just reading from the chat here. And in 2015, the RankBrain update came later in the year. And I'm going to focus on RankBrain especially because this is the update that is most relevant to our discussion today about topic clusters. Some context that's important to consider is there are over 200 ranking signals that are considered when Google is evaluating a page. But when RankBrain was announced, it immediately became the third most important factor Google uses to determine a rank, which is pretty major. So RankBrain is an artificial intelligence computer system that was developed using machine learning. RankBrain watches for what users click and search for in order to make the best educated guess about what that person is actually looking for. So it's really focusing on the user's intent rather than just the exact words. So let me show you an example that better illustrates what RankBrain really entails. So maybe you go to Google and you search for chocolate chip cookies. You're looking for a nice snack, perhaps. And when you type in chocolate chip cookies on Google today, what you see back isn't just a Wikipedia page that tells you what a chocolate chip cookie is. You are going to see results about best chocolate chip cookies, chocolate chip cookie recipe, tasty chocolate chip cookies. And in my search query, I didn't say anything about wanting to bake or eat chocolate chip cookies. But based on what other users are clicking on after they search and based on my user intent, Google is inferring that I'm most likely looking for recipes or tasty cookies. And it's right, I definitely am looking to eat cookies. And so really the takeaway for this is that searchers are likely discovering your content even when they don't use exact keywords. So when you combine this RankBrain update with Hummingbird, the evidence is very clear that we need to shift how we think about, plan, and create content. So following these major algorithm updates and changes in user search behavior, you may be wondering, what does this mean for marketers like yourselves that are looking to attract organic traffic? What does this mean for me? And all of this change in Google and how it is recognizing our queries brings about opportunity for content marketers to be found, and more importantly, found by their ideal audience. That is a key facet to creating successful content in today's online environment. Most people forget it's not just about creating content for the search engine. Search engines aren't the ones that are filling out the forms on your website. Search engines aren't the ones that are sharing your content on social media. Search engines are not your customers. Humans are your customers. So in order to help both humans connect with your content and to help search engines recognize your website as an authority on a specific subject, you can create targeted clusters of relevant content that each cover a specific topic in depth. These clusters link to a central hub known as a pillar page. So this diagram illustrates what a topic cluster looks like. A topic cluster, as I mentioned, involves the central pillar page, that little colored dot that you see in the center there. Usually it's a long form landing page piece of content And there's a series of linked, the link part being especially important, subtopic contents that are loosely related to the core pillar page topic. Usually these are blog posts. And there are a few benefits to using a topic cluster structure on your website. One of these is for the search engine, subtopic content linking to the pillar page also bolsters the pillar page's authority in Google's eyes. Having a clean and organized site architecture allows bots to crawl your site more easily. And then for the human, this site architecture organizes your content and makes it easy for humans to find what they are looking for on your website. One of the core components of topic cluster strategy that I mentioned is the pillar page. A pillar page, as I already briefly touched on, is a long form piece of content that provides a comprehensive overview of a specific topic. So with that, let's dive into a real example of a customer, HubSpot customer, that made their first topic cluster and saw some pretty cool results. So this company is called Etuma. Etuma has a product that's called Open Text Search. This product basically takes a huge amount of free text as an input. It analyzes the contents of the text, and then it gives the user output that organizes it into major trends and takeaways. So potentially it could take a huge block of NPS or customer feedback and say, the sentiment of this text is negative. And so Etuma, I go ahead to my next slide here. They performed keyword research that their primary persona, who is customer experience manager Maggie, as they identified, may use when they are looking for information online. They identified the broad topic text analysis as one that has a high enough search volume while having manageable difficulty as well. And so they decided this would be a helpful starting point. So they chose this as their broad topic. Next, Etuma brought focus to their broad topic by being specific as to what Maggie might be looking for. So they took text analysis and they honed it down into text analysis guide. They know Maggie is trying to make sense of a lot of data and is actively looking for step-by-step guidance. This is what they decided to create their pillar page content around, so that they can provide somewhat of a comprehensive overview to becoming a text analysis expert. One pro tip when you are creating your topic clusters and your cluster strategy is that if you're going to take all of this time to create a pillar page, to create content that educates your audience, you should make sure that it's tying back to at least one of your products or services that you're selling. Otherwise, what's the point of going to all of that effort? Next up, Etuma created their subtopics and either repurposed existing content and linked it to the pillar page or created new subtopics. This, doesn't have to be brand new content. And so they looked at what users are searching for, things like how do you categorize customer comment, and started building out their subtopics from here. So as I click through, you'll see a few more subtopics that they decided to choose. Subtopics should be specific enough that you can cover them completely comprehensively in one blog post. And if you need more than one blog post to cover it, it's probably a good candidate for its own pillar page. And when I am searching for subtopics, I usually recommend looking for a monthly search volume of at least 300 to ensure that it's a topic that people are actually searching for. That, of course, isn't a hard and fast rule. There can always be exceptions, but it's a good starting point if you're looking for one. And another pro tip is that if you are looking for help with identifying your subtopics, a good place to start is by looking into the questions that your audience has about the topic you chose to write about. And there are some good free tools that can help you with this. Answer the Public is one of them. It's, again, free. You go to answerthepublic.com and you type in a broad topic, and it will spit back a bunch of questions falling into buckets of who, what, when, where, why, based on Google autocomplete data. So it's looking into what people are actually searching for based on that topic. Another good free tool is Keywords Everywhere. It's a Chrome extension that you can download for free, and it creates a little side panel in Google like this when you search for something, and it will show you keywords as well as statistics about them, like the volume and related keywords that people also search for. The last piece of the topic cluster puzzle is links. So always link from your subtopic content to your pillar content. This piece is last, but it's not the least. Do not skip on the internal linking because it's central to topic cluster strategy. It's what allows the Google to realize that the content is related, and it's what passes authority back and forth between the content. It's also what helps Google crawl your site more efficiently. So now we are going to get into our exercise. I'm going to take us through some short activities where we will start brainstorming and creating our own topic clusters. First off, we are going to define our broad topic areas. So another example, if HubSpot were building a topic cluster, we might say, I want to be known for inbound marketing. We might choose that as a starting point. So with this activity, what I would like you to do, just for the next minute, you don't have to go anywhere. We can just wait for a minute. Right now in your browser, pull up an incognito window, and then just think in your head, what is one broad topic area that I want my business to be known for? And then I want you to type that term into Google in the incognito window and just see what comes up. Take a moment to review the page 1 results, and then look and see who is ranking in the top spot for this keyword. Who are they? What are they writing about? Is it related to what I actually want to be known for? Take a look at the content and see how long it is and who it was actually written for. Does it match my target persona? So go ahead and just take a minute to do that. And we'll wait here for a moment. We can regroup in about 30 to 60 seconds.
Amanda, while people are thinking about that, quick question for you.
Yeah.
Just popped into my mind. This is something that's raised a number of times. When you talk about pillar pages, maybe you're going to cover this later on, so I apologize if I'm preempting, but what's a good length for a pillar page? Because I know there's a lot of debate about, you know, what's you said long form content, but what does long form actually mean?
Yeah, that is a good question. In general, I think it should probably be between 2,000 and 5,000 words. There's a really popular format for pillar pages called a 10x pillar page.
Right.
And that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be 10 times longer than your other content, but it should be ideally 10 times more valuable than the other results that are coming up on Google. And so in order to do that, you're going to need a lot of content and a lot of resources. So I think that those benchmarks are all a good place to start when thinking about how big you want this thing to be.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Yeah. All right. Great question. Let's regroup now that we have had the chance to go through this activity. So now that you've identified your broad topic area, we're going to go on to the next step, which is identifying your core topic area. So we're going to take that and we're going to hone in a little bit more specifically. So for HubSpot, this might be within inbound marketing personas. And a useful tip for thinking about your specific topic is if you can write something like the ultimate guide to and fill in your topic there, it's a good pillar page idea. So next, what we're going to do is using your observations from the last exercise, just think about 1 to 3 specific core topics that support your broader topic area. Pick 1 or 2 to start with and just type it into the chat. And let's see what you all are thinking of. All right, I see one that is inbound versus outbound. So if that was my core topic, potentially some of my subtopic content that I brainstorm out from there could be different facets of inbound versus outbound marketing, comparing the benefits of inbound versus outbound, talking about downsides of outbound. So yeah, good one, good one. All right. I'm seeing a slowdown in the chat, so I'm just going to go ahead and move on. IT support services. That's a good one. It's broader than IT services, which is good. It's specifically IT support services. And so it seems like that is a good piece of content that you could write. That's an ultimate guide to. All right, so from here, the next step is going to be to identify your subtopics. So for inbound marketing, this might be questions that your audience is asking about inbound marketing personas. For example, what are my negative personas? How do you build a persona? And what content does my persona want? We're getting a little bit short on time, so I'm going to skip this activity for now. But a good place to start when you are identifying your subtopics is using answerthepublic.com, which I already briefly mentioned earlier. Take your core topic that you already identified, plug it into the tool, and see what kind of questions come up. You can supplement that by taking those phrases and plugging them into a keyword research tool to see the monthly search volume and the difficulty for that topic as well. And this is just a little illustration of what the topics tool in HubSpot looks like. You will put your pillar page in the middle, and your subtopic content will be linked, represented by these spiderweb lines, and circling around the outside. So it's an organizational tool to visualize your topic cluster content. So your next step after today is creating a pillar page for that one more specific topic that you identified. We have a lot of great guides at HubSpot on how to write a pillar page. As I mentioned, probably between 2,000 to 5,000 words. It's usually helpful to have a table of contents in it as well. And as a final step, you can either repurpose existing blog posts that you have about your subtopics, or you can create new content as well. So to recap what we talked about today, search has changed, and topic clusters rearrange your site architecture to help search engines and people navigate more easily. You want to focus on user intent and capturing authority for a broader topic as opposed to very specific long tail keywords. As a next step, what you can do is perform an audit of your existing content. So look at what you already have. What could you make into a pillar page or topic cluster to save yourself some work? Next, create new content where you see gaps and put together a pillar page to use as a starting point. Build out links between your pillar page and cluster content, and then promote the page to your audience. If you want to continue learning more about content strategy, we have quite a few courses on the HubSpot Academy. There's a course on content strategy. There's also a brand new SEO certification as well. And I know that I took us right to the end of time, but if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them in the last few minutes that we have. And also, if you'd like to connect following this hug, here's my information, my LinkedIn, my Twitter. Let's connect, and we can continue talking.
That is so cool. Thank you so much. I actually, if anybody else wants to throw some into the chat, then that would be brilliant. I mean, the nature of SEO is that it tends to verge on the technical sometimes. So I apologize if these get a bit strange. But in terms of the linking, this is something that is often asked as well. You've got links going from your pillar page to your subtopics, and you've got links coming from your subtopic back to the pillar page, and that's key, and HubSpot picks up on that. Would you also discourage other types of links? So if you've got a blog post, for example, on I don't know, we had IT support services, which I threw in there as an example. If you had other links from that blog post to other blog posts or other parts of the website, is that breaking that rule of just having the links going to the pillar page, or is that okay?
As with most things in SEO, I would say it probably depends. In general, I would discourage too many subtopics or like blog posts that link from the blog post, because it creates more crawl depth. And sometimes that can make it harder for link equity to pass down to those blog posts that are a little bit deeper. And it can be harder for internal page rank to pass through to those pages. It can also increase your risk of having orphaned pages. So if you have like a subtopic, you delete the subtopic, then you could have a page that's not linked to anything. So in general, I would say probably avoid, but I'm sure there are cases where it can make sense to do so.
Yeah, the way I often think of this is try and keep it simple.
Yeah.
If there's too many links going all over the place, Google's going to be confused and the user's going to be confused as well. There's a good question from Simon here is would a pillar page be a blog post, landing page, or either within HubSpot? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think in HubSpot, it should probably be a landing page. You could make it a blog post, but as of right now, our templates for blog posts are pretty rigid. You have to use the same template for your entire blog for all the posts. Whereas for a landing page, you have more flexibility over the contents of the pillar page and the layout. So, and most of the templates that we have on our asset marketplace are for landing pages as well.
Yeah, and I would, slight twist on that, I would probably say that a pillar page should be part of the site, the core site structure, right? So it's a blog post is there could be thousands of blog posts, and blog posts tend to fade. They tend to be date specific, whereas a pillar page should be your main key thoughts on a topic, which should be like semi-permanent, right? So it doesn't matter when it was created. Ramsey, I have a question. How do I filter out people who are searching to get hired from people who want to hire in for click ads? This is an interesting one. I think if I can paraphrase what Ramsey's asking, I think this comes down to searcher intent. We've often seen a lot of websites that get a lot of traffic, but they're not getting the right type of traffic. So you might rank for a phrase which could be ambiguous and used by different personas. So do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say another good tip is if you're looking to identify like the type of intent that your searchers have, if you're interested in a keyword, just try typing it into Google and see what results are already coming up. Do the results that are coming up for the query you're targeting match your own intent, or are they completely different? And that can also be a good starting point.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good tip. Searching for that keyword and seeing that also the type of content that's coming up. Is it a blog post? Is it a PDF? Is it a video? It gives you some idea of what Google thinks is important for that. Emmanuel, most of the time in HubSpot, when we choose a content as a subtopic, it must contain exactly the same keyword in the main title. It does not exactly match. It can be a problem to link this article. How to deal with that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Let me see. When we choose a content as a subtopic, it must contain exactly the same keyword in the main title. Yeah, I would say you're probably referring to the optimize tab in the page editor. If you are targeting a specific keyword, it will check for the presence of that exact keyword in your title. I still think that if you are optimizing around a keyword, it's probably best practice to include it in the title and the H1, and then to include variations of that, like synonyms, related words in the post body. So I would say it is an optimization that we make, and I think it's usually best practice. Does that mean you can't still rank for that keyword? Probably not. You can probably still rank for it.
I would say the guidance from any kind of tool is just that. It's guidance. You know, you're not breaking any laws if you don't follow exactly what the tool is saying. And this is actually almost a follow-on. This is an interesting one. Do you need a pillar page per keyword term that you're wishing to rank for? Now, I know I've got an opinion on this, but Amanda, I'd love to hear yours.
Yeah, the beauty of the topic cluster model is that what it will hopefully achieve is that it will allow you to rank for a variety of long tail keywords within that topic. You're building up your site as an authority on that key topic, which will mean Google will recognize user intent and rank your pages for many different keywords. So I would say, like, you should have a pillar page for every broad topic that you would like to be known for. I don't think you need to have a pillar page for every keyword that you would like to rank for. And Fluid,
I 100% agree with that. It's an interesting thing. You know, back in the day when you were talking about, you know, Penguin updates and those type of things, everything was really single keyword focused at that time. Now, really what we're looking at is topic focused. So it's rare that we look at one particular keyword and try to optimize for a keyword. You're trying to think about it in terms of the subject and the searcher. So what we actually see in practice is that when you start promoting, and that's a whole separate thing around this, how do you promote all these things? But once you start promoting and start getting traffic, you start to rank for the easier keywords first within that topic cluster, the low competition ones, the low search volumes. Then you start ranking for the medium ones, and then eventually you start ranking for the more difficult ones. But if you do it right, and if you're patient, you can actually rank for literally hundreds of different keywords on a single topic cluster. And that's the power of this model, and that's why it's very different from what we've seen before. Yeah. Can a pillar page be a main website product page, or is this not complex long enough? This person, Jane, is building out a new website in HubSpot at the moment.
Yeah, I would say there are definitely like bottom of the funnel type of pillar pages that you could make where you talk about like products and services that fulfill a specific need. I would say that in general, your product page probably should not be your pillar page, but it can be incorporated or linked to in your pillar page. And your pillar page can include information about your products. But in general, I think it's probably best if they're separate. But Fluid, let me know if you have a different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The pillar page is what you want to rank for, but it's actually very difficult to rank for individual product pages. But you can put calls to action within your pillar page, which then sends people off to the individual products that you're trying to promote. Yeah, fantastic. Unless, oh, here's another one. If you are updating older content and linking to your topic, any rules on how to do that so SEO improves? Do you have any commentary on that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that Google considers is content quality and content freshness. So if you are repurposing old content, I would make sure that it's still accurate. Make sure that like the statistics and the dates that you have in there are still relevant. And I would also ensure that regular on-page SEO optimizations are in place for the long tail keyword or subtopic that you are hoping that piece of content can be related to as well. So if you're going back retroactively and you say, oh, this blog post can be good for the question, how do I create inbound marketing personas? Then you can optimize that page to better answer that question if it doesn't already explicitly do so.
Yeah, we have a lot of success going through older content. It's a really good tactic. You don't have to rethink the whole process. You know, the structure is still there, but like you say, bring it up to date, check the statistics, improve things like media. So often older blog posts might be thin content, so you want to be fleshing that out, adding more value, putting in videos and images. And one other tip is update the publish date so that it is brought right up to date, and re-promote it. So if you're republishing some old content, put it out through Twitter, put it out through Facebook. That doesn't give you any SEO value, those links, but they encourage Google to recrawl, and that's always a good thing. Yeah. So publishing blog posts is less good than pillar content.
I wouldn't say it's less good. I would say that your pillar page is probably more likely to rank more highly. I think they're both important because the blog posts allow you to bolster up that pillar page and create your authority on that topic. I wouldn't say it's less important though.
Yeah, you need both. The way I look at these things is you're creating like a mini Wikipedia on your own site around a particular topic. And that's how you should think about it. So you have one core article and supporting articles, but the supporting articles are equally important. Google uses them to see that the core article is considered important by the site. Question on backlinks. Is the quantity of backlinks or quality of backlinks more important when it comes to ranking? Should you only really be linking via sites and pages that directly relate to your key topic? There's actually two questions in there. Yeah. Do you want to have a go at that?
Yeah, I think that both are important. It's difficult to say which is more important. If I had to pick one, I would say probably quality, but quantity definitely does play into like how authoritative Google sees your page. But if you have a high volume of toxic or spammy backlinks, that can actually have the reverse effect and impact you negatively. I would say when you are backlink building, focus on guest posting or connecting with sites that are like authoritative and high quality, because Google will and can penalize low quality backlinks.
Yeah, you've got to be really careful with backlink building. It's discouraged by Google, so you have to do it in a white hat way, if I could use that phrase. Quality is really, really important, but SEO ranking is a combination of multiple different things. Backlinks, on-site SEO, which is the technical things and metadata and things that we've been talking about, but also the quality of the content and the subject matter that you're trying to rank for. So you have to have all three working really well. And the second half of that question, should they only be from sites that are directly related? It depends what you mean by directly related. Definitely, they should be relevant in terms of the subject from the site. So if you've got an e-commerce site selling makeup, you know, you're not going to want it from a link from a B2B site that's talking about, you know, project management. Google will discount that and it won't be relevant. So quality and relevance is what you really should be looking for in the backlinks.
Yeah, I also just remembered Google had, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Oh, I just remembered as well, Google recently put out an update called the link spam update that is even harsher on like low quality backlinks. So that is also worth keeping in mind. If you Google link spam update, you can learn more about it. But that is another recent update that puts more emphasis on quality.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've come to the end of today. I really appreciate the time that you've taken, Amanda, to put this presentation together. I think it's been very valuable to people, and it's really just the starting point for an SEO journey. HubSpot themselves are investing a lot in terms of the tools, and I would encourage people to actually look at the SEO tools within the HubSpot product. They've come on leaps and bounds. In the early days, we largely ignored them. Sorry to tell you that, but now we're actually actively using them, particularly the topic clusters and ways of reporting on all of these different things. In future hugs, we're going to dive further into this. We're going to talk about keyword research. We're going to talk about specifically the HubSpot tools. We're going to actually do some walkthroughs of those things. And maybe, Amanda, you could come back and have a follow-up talk with us. We'd really appreciate it.
Definitely, let me know. And if you have any feedback about our tools, reach out to me, because I'm always looking to improve them.
Yeah, and there will be a recording, and we'll be sharing the slide deck with everybody as well. So look out for an email for the next hug, and thank you, everybody, and thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.